Hi everyone, it's Adrienne Leah. This is going to be a review for the Everyday Witch Oracle and the Everyday Witch Tarot. I received the Everyday Witch Oracle the other day, but I've had the Everyday Witch Tarot a couple months more. So I have talked about the tarot a couple of times in other videos. So this video will be about how I'm using the decks, my experiences, how I can interpret some of the cards. Since I'm doing two deck reviews in this video, I won't go too in-depth with the card interpretations, but I'll give you guys some ideas on how you can view the symbolism. And if I have time, I would like to talk about a book that Elizabeth Alba, the illustrator of both the decks, illustrated for, which is the novel Gilly and the Snowcats by R.S. Bovard. And I love that book. If you guys are into shamanism or even witchcraft, I think that this book will be a great choice for you. And even for young adults or teenagers, if you, again, are into that stuff. So I have an open copy of the Everyday Witch Tarot, but I did get a signed copy. So this is my signed one, and I got the Oracle signed as well, and the books are signed too. So the Everyday Witch Oracle does have a system to it, and I use it and I don't use it depending on the type of reading. It's more of a free-flowing deck for me, and it is more of a meditative deck. I was thinking before I got it that I can use them both together, which I could, but I could also use the Everyday Witch Oracle for meditative draws because I draw cards daily, and then I can read with the decks too. But preferably I'll just meditate with it. So if you get the decks from the artist or the author on Etsy, you can also get some stuff that comes with it. So this is the back of the Everyday Witch Tarot. I love this because my late cat, this reminds me of my late cat Kiki. And I love how the cat has yellow eyes because sometimes the cats are drawn with green eyes. And I'm a cat person. I love cats and I love dogs too. But when I see a black cat, I look out for that. This is also the cover and one of the cards for the Everyday Witch Oracle. And on the back it has the tarot deck. I got this from the illustrator, and she gave me one of her business cards, and I love that she used one of her illustrations. So with the boxes, the box for the Oracle is a matte finish. It's thinner, the cards are larger, but they have the same cardstock. Now in future editions, they might change the cardstock because I have noticed in general with decks, they sometimes switch it up from the first edition or further editions. And it opens up like this. And I'll just say quickly for the other box that this box is a glossy finish. I just love the color and the kitschiness of it. The reason why I held off on the Everyday Witch Tarot to begin with is because I wasn't sure how serious it would be for me, but it is an honest deck. It doesn't really hold that back. If you want something that'll tell you what the situation is, this is a deck that you could use if you like the imagery and you connect with the symbolism and if the words are on the cards for the oracle, if you connect to that. So for those who may not want to use the booklet, you might want to use this just with the words at the bottom of the cards instead of using the book, because the book shows you the system that it has it, and I'll show you the sign part. So it's sectioned off into 4 suits: the fire, water, earth, and air, and you're going to see that throughout the booklet, how it's categorized. And with the way that it's written, it doesn't have the pictures, and it goes from one card to the other card. So if it finishes on a page, maybe like here, it'll go into another section. So I can read an example of how the book reads for the card. Oh, and also I got a sticker of the backs that I don't have with me when I got the deck. And also, if you just want to use the interpretations or as a meditative and divinatory type of reading, you can. And then there's magic that is associated in action. Sorry, I was painting earlier. I was finishing off my Ogum deck. And what's fun is that, I mean, if you want to write to the author, you can. I hope you guys could see the book, but I mean, if you can't, I'll read an example, and I said some things for general guidelines for the book too. And on Deborah Blake, the author's website, or Etsy, you can also see her other products that she has. So this is her list. Even on Elizabeth Alba's Etsy shop, you can see her illustrations for other projects as well. So I chose this top because I feel like it fits the backs of the cards. And I really love this deep blue that they use. So I did put a couple of cards to the side, a lot of cards to the side that I really love. I mean, I love all the cards, so it isn't, I wasn't really holding back on how many cards to talk about, so that's why I'll briefly talk about it. But this is the back of the card, and it does have a thinner cardstock than the Everyday Witch, but where it appears thinner if it is the same card thickness, because the cards for the tarot are smaller. But I love how they use the same glossy, slightly plasticky type of cardstock, because I got a second copy of the Everyday Witch Tarot early on because I didn't know if they were going to change the cardstock, and I really love it. It's my favorite cardstock out of all the Llewellyn cardstock that's been out. And then there's been a couple of variations. So this was the card that I got today, and it says Listening to Wisdom. And you can see a bit of similarity with the words at the bottom. Not like the same meaning, but going into different elements. So there's water magic. I put these as an example, and air magic, and there's the other two for the other elements. So because I had Listening to Wisdom for my card draw today. I did a bit of introspecting, and I feel like by doing this video, it may be something that you guys would like to watch so you can get an overview of both of the decks. And with the Everyday Witch Tarot, it has been compared to the Green Witch Tarot, and I feel like they're pretty different. They're different illustrations, and the energy seems a little more toned down in the Green Witch Tarot. It feels like it's stripped back of more of, it's in a way honest, but not as directly honest. Like, it feels like it kind of beats around the bush with that deck. So it is a deck that I don't completely connect with, but I love the imagery for. Whereas this one, I love the imagery and I completely connect to it. Because I feel like when I had both of these decks together, they felt like a soul deck bond for me, or soul decks for me. Because I'm from the Northeast and I grew up in New England, and the author or the illustrator is from New England, so the imagery feels like places that I've been to, the type of scenery that I would see, just the atmosphere in general. It has more of an olden feel, and it feels like it has a bit of a northeastern type of personality, or the way that I see it, because it's very upfront, it's very honest with you. Sometimes it can be a little brutal, because sometimes when I read with the cards and I'm doing either my public readings or my client readings, I have to watch with the words that I use, because sometimes it is so honest with you that it may not sound the kindest, but I feel like the deck means well. So I'll show you guys some cards that I really love. So this card's one of my favorites for sure. I love all the cards for both of the decks. The Oracle is definitely more diverse. So the Oracle came out after the Tarot. So this is Plant the Seeds. I love how the cat is helping plant with his or her human friend. I love the hat. It definitely feels more elven. I love the bare feet too, feeling the earth. So there is a bit of, she already started doing it, and there has been growth in other areas. I love the give into passion. More fiery energy, you see the salamander and even the coloration in her dress. And even with the passion and creativity that's in this card, that is associated with the fire suit, or fire in general, because this isn't a tarot deck. And there is a bit of wildness with the pattern on the cat. Seems like it goes more into its primal state. Gratitude and thanks. I love the organic nature of this. I love her dress, and the coloration is amazing. And it really feels like you get the impression that what the card says, and it's even giving back. And you see the milk for the cat. It's very sweet. Go with the flow. You see a willow tree, more of watery energy, and you see that she lets go of her oar, and there's excitement with the cat and anticipation and curiosity, and his human friend looks really serene and feels confident, and just putting her hand in the water, and it's very soothing and it's comforting. And you see the light in the sky. It kind of opens up and gapes. And even the shade in the tree seems comforting too with this card. And the reed on the side. So this feels like a grounding card. It's connect with Gaia. This reminds me of the Hanged Man. And you see that he's rooted, or she's rooted, I'm sorry. And even the expression with the cat, how the cat has a bit of tense energy. And the human is letting things go and run its course and releasing. And even the stones in the background and the hills. Maybe there was a bit of conflict in the past with the hills, and then it's more of a smoother passage in this way, or perspective, from seeking high perspective or knowledge, depending on the tree symbolism that you may see. So these cards, air magic, water magic, are ideas that you might get from cards that may be similar in the suits. I love how the cat's in the cat bowl and there's a sand dollar there. And even a bit of awareness with the dolphin. And the pink skies. I love the pink skies. I really love the color pink. So with this one, you can see that he's burning incense. This looks like a hawk and he's getting a better vision of something. Or maybe he's in, he's contemplating. It's nice that there's a lefty in here because I'm a lefty. And even scent through the air, a bit of aromatherapy. It could be therapeutic. Not that this is what that is, but that's what it reminds me of. So hibernation and regeneration. Sleeping in the cave. And with crystal magic too. Or maybe a bit of holistic care with the crystals. Maybe seeing what you can get out of your dreams. Resting and being able to be more lively after that. More energized, having to think things over. Things being rooted. Maybe it's a time for rest and waiting until another season goes by. I love how she's cloaked with the blanket with the stars. And you could see the elements in the middle too. So learn from life. I'm going to go a little faster so I can get at least a little bit of information from the Everyday Witch Tarot in this. And you see the books are around her and she has scrolls and the symbol. More of an airier type of energy. And even the cat reaching for a butterfly. Maybe flight or transformation. Even past lives too, because in some cultures a butterfly can symbolize ancestors. And she's communicating with somebody. And even her Book of Shadows. meditation and creativity, you can see that there are cards from the tarot in there. So that one is the Ace of Cups, and this one appears to be the Magician. It's a little more subdued and blurry, so it doesn't really show, but that's what it looks like. And I love how the cat and dog are even doing it too. Something more therapeutic and playful and enjoyment. Maybe getting something off of your chest, and creativity really helps. And concentrating your energy with the wand. Having more fiery energy. Meditation to dig deep. And looking like they're digging for, maybe they found crystals, or they're trying to find something else. And the mushrooms. Mushrooms feed off of decay and moistness, and can be found deep in the forest. So that might be something to look into on what needs to be resurfaced. So there's meditation cards. I pulled out meditation for clarity and meditation for peace and serenity. And you can see that she's looking into the water, maybe trying to find some things out, think things through. And even the shadow here too could be shadow working. And you can see that she's burning sage, and her broom is down, so she's not in flight, so this is a time of stillness. And I love the dog at the top. That's why I chose to show this. But there's also coral here too. In Sanskrit. So coral could be representing maybe blood, if you're linking it to maybe more shamanic type of symbolism. So there's affirmation cards for the suit. This was my first card draw, the affirmation for growth. And affirmation for positive change. And there's a mermaid in the King of Cups too. And she took off her clothing that maybe didn't suit her. Maybe it was a phase, or maybe this is a phase, or she's finding out who she is as she gets older. And there's a boat. And I love the cat, how it has an eye patch too. Sorry, I can't really point. And seeing another perspective. And I love how the cat is planting too. And there's another affirmation card in here. Affirmation for acceptance. I actually love this card. I held off on the deck because I wasn't sure how I'd react to this one, because it reminded me of a horror film. But it wasn't because of the illustrator. But I do love the card. Prayers and wishes. And there's a cat and dog and the birds going into flight. This might just be for one deck. And seasonal harvest. And getting what you need, because you don't want to over harvest. And getting things in season, as it says, is important. Transformation and change. This is an interesting one. I love the turtles and the rebirth and rejuvenation. I'll show 3 more because I love this. But I love the fox in here too. This is Healing Waters. Imagine and envision. I love the background, the pink and purple. A lot of creativity. I love the cleansing body and spirits. One of my favorite cards. I do have a lot of favorites anyway, because it reminds me of the Northeast. And it gives you time to think too, and relax, and change in progress. This reminds me of the Fool card. And you can see the cat is on edge and the rushing waters behind. Because the human looks so excited and the cat has maybe using its other instincts and saying, are you sure this is a good idea? So I'll pull out a card. Water magic. So it is in an alphabetical order. And it does have a section on how to use the deck with the tarot. Water is a powerful force. It can wear down a mountain or create a lake. It brings life into the fields, but can also be violent and impossible to control. Not an element to be taken for granted, as you know, if you ever been thirsty or lived through either a drought or a flood. Most of the time, though, water is our friend, and we can use its power to help us change and transition through various stages of our lives. Water is fluid and flexible and reminds us that we can be that way too. So I'll just show you the action divination magic and try to show some cards from the tarot. But it does give deep messages for the cards that are in here. And I feel like this is a nice read to have when you're doing meditative draws. It doesn't really give you the mundane. It feels like it's an energy of a psychic knower. It's something that you might want to draw in the morning, and then throughout the day you reflect on what it said and how you can incorporate it, and maybe how it connects with certain things that happen throughout the day. So specifically maybe clairvoyance, because I'm a clairvoyant. So for the Everyday Witch Tarot, I'm going to show you guys some of my favorite cards, but I don't have a lot of time, and just to show this is what it looks like when it's in the box. So I pulled out some of my favorites, and I won't be going through all of them because it's this much out of the deck. So I'll show you the page for the card draw in the end if you want to see that. So 9 of Cups, and maybe you're not getting what you want. Maybe emotions are overriding what's necessary. Maybe change is supposed to happen, or maybe you have everything, or there's something that's just in the works and it's completely meant to be. But it does seem like she is hopeful and right at the waters too. But be careful not to get too caught up because she's there during the daytime and the waters can go completely over shore when it turns nighttime. Hierophant, a teaching card, meditating or yoga class, maybe both. Definitely a calmer perspective, and I really like the Hierophant card in here. And I love the use of shadow in the decks too. It's really interesting with the Seven of Pentacles how she has grapes in here. She may be learning how to harvest, and you see that her wine is there and there's a book. And even the cat's pawing at it, seeming a little playful. And she seems kind of young, so maybe this is one of her earlier jobs. An interesting card in this deck is the Queen of Wands, and this was another card that I was thinking about if this would be a card for me in the deck, and I love this card because it really shows that you can be powerful but also kind too. And she looks like she has a rose dress, and you can see the hummingbird, and she's wrapped around by a dragon, and she has her wand. And with this this deck, it does feel like concentrated fire energy, even in the wand suit. And it feels more feminine with the drawing and the fine details. Even from the beginning, it didn't hold back. The Three of Swords was the first card that I ever drew, and it was calling me out because I felt like it was a heavier energy, similar to how I felt with the Forest Oracle, and that's also imagery from New England because it's a photography deck, and it was familiar imagery, and it was like a longing because I do miss New England a lot because I'm currently living down south. And I love it. It can be a struggle to even get out of bed or even write your feelings out, and things spilled over, and it can be a dramatic card. And even with the maybe innocence of it, with the heart candy or box candy hearts, and the raven at the window trying to relay something else, and it's a stormy night. So that could be maybe a reason why people aren't sure of, is this a serious deck? But for me, it tells you how it is. I love the High Priestess. I love a High Priestess that has divination in it. So these are runes, and you can see some of the runes in here too. And I love the books behind her. She still has the pillars and the veil symbolism. There's the mermaid and the dolphin that are in here. The mermaid was in the other card for positive change, and the cat is getting the fish, so maybe you're getting a hold of the situation, getting a better perspective because it's the King of Cups. Or maybe he's just on his island and seeing what he wants to see. Another shadow in the card for the Justice card, and she has her eye out, but she's looking away even though she has a law book, and the cats are there too with the stone being grounded. I love the King of Swords and even the Emperor too because they seem more meticulous, or the King of Swords is a pretty meticulous card. pretty serious, but he also seems kind too. And it looks like it could be wind or water with this, and clear skies. And constantly learning or finding out information, being ahead of things. Even the bottom, there's books. And the Queen of Swords. I love the oldness of it. It just looks like New England because there is a newness to it too. And it does feel like a bit of a studious card, but you do see what kind of student are you? Are you that cat that just lies there, or the one that's being more attentive? And trying to get it right with getting the pentacle in the middle. This really screams out the Knight of Cups. Some people might not like the hearts, but I love just feminine stuff. And there's the shark at the bottom, but it might not be the best situation. Even the cat is being a little risky too. And how are you leading yourself? So there's families in the Knight, in the Ten of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups, which is interesting. And you can see them in the court cards. The Knight of Wands could be slaying the dragon, even though I don't condone that type of stuff. I mean, if, you know, some type of protection. And the Queen of Pentacles is a common card for me. A lot comes from the pile here and even the cats, because I used to have a lot of cats and I still have a lot of pets. And the berries, maybe bramble, very hardy. Knight of Wands, maybe a bit of exhaustion, how you use your energy. There is a bit of tenseness coming from the cat. With the Eight of Pentacles, it seems like it's one that you know what you're doing, but there's always something that needs to be learned. And is this going to be a new spell, or is it going to be completely different? Personally, I don't do the same spell over and over again. I love with the Seven of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune, you can really see what imagery points out to you, because it gives you a wheel and then you get the choices. With the Page of Pentacles, it's kind of funny because it doesn't really look like he's that great with money. He seems a bit of like, yeah, I got this, but not that much experience. Five of Swords, maybe she's the one with the intention of how she wanted it to go, and then didn't really consider what others thought of it. I love Five of Pentacles. I really love the Tudor house here. This reminds me of my late cat and I with the Magician. Sometimes I get like sword to me too, in case like a reading turns out like that. I asked if this was a soul deck and I got the Two of Cups, so that's amazing. This brings back memories because an old friend mom had a couch or chair like this, a lounge chair, where she could read in the foyer area, and he seems more prepared with the Knight of Pentacles. I love the excitement in this one. I'm sorry, I have a couple more minutes. Maybe she just learned how to fly, or she's starting off. And this one, be careful with the communication. So, this one has the Two of Pentacles, the cat and she's on the teeter-totter and trying to keep stuff afloat or balanced. The King of Wands is really wholesome, because he is talking about navigations with his cat. The Temperance, it's a deck that you can really relate to, because you can see that would you rather be eating cupcakes and on your computer, but I mean, you might be learning about plants too, or are you on a healthier binge or in reading? And the Ten of Swords, she's not getting hurt, but she might be reaching out for something that might not be good for her. Maybe the other person's fed up. I love the Emperor card in here, as I said. A lot of control here. A lot more of a planning energy for that I get. And it does seem like he is more of a fatherly figure too, because sometimes with the Emperor card, it seems to be more focused on a kingdom, the way that he rules, rather than the family. One of my earlier cards too was the Empress. I love the relaxed cat and how I would work with the deck. I love the Seven of Swords with learning, because it is more of a card that you can connect to when you're relating to it, rather than maybe a thief in the night. And there's a lot going on with the Four of Pentacles, so I have like a minute left. So I love the Moon. The Judgment reflects off of the Fool. I love the Sun card. So I'll show the a card pull quickly. And I love the Lover's card and the Four of Cups. Sorry, guys. Love this one too. And I love the way that it shuffles too. So I hope that you guys enjoyed these reviews that I did. I'm sorry I couldn't talk about the book. But if you'd like me to talk about the book or any witchy or shamanic type of recommendations, then I'll do a video on that one too. Okay, thank you. Bye.